Ladies and gentlemen, after a week of absence because of our busy lives, we are back with the episode number 26.
Mm.
I think 26, yeah. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
26.
Yes.
26,
Mhm.
good number, 26, I like it. But yeah, it's not an episode, actually, it's a therapy session. Lucky is my therapist today. He's trying to calm my nerves going into tonight because people know, of course, it's a pretty chill week, this international break for Loki, and the majority of our viewers, who of course are from England. There's also people from Scotland who you see how the world changes, man.
Mm.
Months ago or even years ago, we were already at the World Cup and the Scots were there, like, oh, another Miss World Cup. And now we are here, uh, sensing the ghost of the past again, like,
Yeah.
will we be knocked out again? And Scotland are there, already sensing the beaches of Los Angeles, the the sun of New Jersey. Not much sun actually in New Jersey, but yeah, we'll pass that on. But yeah, actually, it's a therapy session of trying to calm myself before before tonight's game, because honestly, uh, it's I've been thinking about the game for 3-4 days now, honestly, because I was talking to my friends earlier and said last time we were at the World Cup 2014, I was 17. The
Mm.
oldest
Mad.
of my group friends, the one that we do fantasy football to, so the extended group, like, we're also the less confident ones, the less OGs. There's the OGs and
Mm.
other people too in there. So the older ones were born in 1994, so they were around 1920 when it was 2014, and they'll be 35, 30, 34, 35 if we miss out this World Cup in
Wow.
2030. Yeah, 2030. So yeah, we need to qualify as well. But yeah, before we'll finish the podcast talking about a bit of international break, but of course there's something that we need to talk to, and that's the main topic as always,
Mhm.
and it's Leeds United. But before that, Lucky, we didn't
Mm.
talk last week because we were both busy. So how are you, mate? How is it going? I know that the weather, like in Italy, is not very good, but I always tell you, you have to blame yourself because you decided to live in Manchester. And I remember when I was playing FIFA football 2003, when I was 6 years old on the PC, and every time I played against Man United, it was raining. So, man, you have decided to live in the rainiest city in the world. So, how is it going, man? With in your life, and apart from your personal life,
Mm.
in and out your professional life with the scouting and the coaching. Uh, what's up,
Yeah.
basically?
Oh, what isn't up, mate? Is the question. Yeah. It's a tough environment. It's a tough industry to get involved in. Is football. To be honest, it's hard, particularly when you're kind of starting from not really knowing anyone in the industry and you're coming from kind of you know a different background kind of thing. It's hard to build and get into situations where it can be a full time career for you. It is tough. It's hard.
Mhm.
Football's hard, and I'm experiencing that. But you got to keep going, mate. You got to keep going. Yeah, it's been tough,
Yeah.
but having fun as well at the same time. Always trying to learn. But like I said, some days you stood in the rain for 3 or 4 hours and you can't feel your hands, your toes, everything's wet. You're just thinking, what am I doing? Why did I choose this? I could be sat at home or in an office or in a nice building doing something, but I guess that's what builds you. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess you
that's
find
what
out.
forged you. That's what forged you. Yeah, forges
Yeah,
you.
of course. I did it all my life playing, but playing's different because you can run around and you're kicking a football. When you're coaching, you kind of just stood there speaking. Um, and then when kids are not listening to you and you just stood there freezing wet and they're just not listening to you, it's not for the faint-hearted, mate. But
Yeah,
this is it, man. This is it. This, like you said, I don't know why I chose to, but this is football, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. But I do love it, so I do it. So that's why I do it. I guess I don't know. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, I've started scouting. I mean, don't get me started on scouting and how hard that is to get an
no,
opportunity in.
actually, man, I wanted to ask you this for quite a while, because I think
Go
it's
on.
good for people also to know that, because of course we talk in past episodes about your coaching trajectory,
Mm,
so people know about that a bit. Uh, about scouting, of course we won't disclose anything, but you said in the past you work in the past for EFL clubs, and you're actually working for our EFL club that we won't mention, of course, for privacy. But
Yeah.
what's actually your planning when you receive a scout report? How do you approach that, and how do you do that? Because I think it's good also for people to know what you actually do in terms of scouting report, because these days, like I remember when we were talking about doing the scout reports for the transfer window 2 months ago, for the winter transfer one, and there were like experts popping up all around with different methods. So what's the professional method that you actually use for a EFL club actually?
Yeah, question. So what I will say is there's different types of scouts. So I'm a video scout, so I do it from online. Mine's all footage that they give to me. Whereas obviously there's different types of scouts that actually go to games. There's youth scouts as well. So my main role is I will get given usually 2 games a week. Again, they are random. They can be leagues from, it's whatever your network is. So where I work, the network's quite good actually for the level. It's actually really good. That obviously do a Y Scout where you can get games from anywhere. So there's Belgium, there's France, there's Germany, there's even like Lithuania, Finland, Australia. It's a really, really good, obviously England as well, and Ireland. It's a really good scouting network. So I could get games from anywhere, which is what I really enjoy. I'll get a random game. Like I'm doing one now in the second tier in Germany in the Weiter Bundesliga. So
something you like a lot.
Yeah, which made me smile when I got that game through. So basically, I'll get given the game via whatever the website where we're all in. I'll click it, and there's basically the report template is there with the names of players that they're interested in. Now, how they get these players, I'm not sure. I think it's algorithm based or kind of value based as well. And whatever players are there, it's structured then to their KPIs, key performance indicators. I will watch the player. I'll get the footage of the game, and I have my notes on this screen to my left, and I'll just write each player. I'll write all my notes in detail, which are probably about 3 paragraphs while I'm watching. So I pause it when I'm watching. I write notes, play again, pause, write notes. It takes probably about 4 hours to do a game, just because I write a lot of notes. Yeah. So I'll do that. I'll do my notes. I've watched the game. I'll then look at my notes and I'll think, have I missed a key physical detail? Have I missed a key technical detail? If so, I'll go back to the game again, watch that single player a little bit more for like a 10, 15 minute period, just so I make sure I've not missed any detail. Add that in if I haven't. And then I'll fill the report out in the structure they want, which they've already set for us. And we do that little rating system for the KPIs, 1 to 10. I'll rate them in each thing. And then I send it off, basically. So I'll get 2 games a week, usually 4 or 5 players per game. So probably about 10 players a week. Again, and this comes down to how much you care about it. You could watch the game in 90 minutes, write a few notes, and just bloat them out a little bit and send the report. But this idiot spends too long watching individual players. So, yeah, probably about 4 hours a game, I'd say.
That's a lot, actually.
From starting the game to finishing the report, probably about 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the structure. But it's important to say as well. I know. I showed you. I told you some of the names of the players that I'll be watching. Because they're excited. The players we spoke about on the scout report a while ago. One of the first ones, I think, especially on my channel. I remember it was ages ago. But what happens is, so the question that everyone always says is, I hope we're scouting for the summer. I hope we're scouting for this. They are. Like, scout, you're prepared. You
always.
Like I'm working at a club in the EFL in lower leagues. So and they have a lot of information. I mean, a lot. Like I said, I'm doing leagues from all over the world, mainly Europe, but Australia as well. So there's a lot of information, and there's probably like 10 more people that do the same thing I do at the club. And that's just video scouting. So there's a lot of information about every player. But every player I do isn't necessarily for the level. So say the team I'm at, does a promotion next year, for example, they're in a higher league, they've got a higher budget.
Yeah.
Look at Birmingham; they managed to entice these players from the Eredivisie, for example, that you thought, wow, that's a good signing. You know, kind of like we did with Ramazani, that kind of level as well. We spent a bit of money from a guy in a top tier. That's when a lot of players that I'm doing might come into it. Whereas they might not be the players ready for now, but they're there if they do get promoted. They are prepared for, you know, they already have they're not like, oh, we've been promoted, now we need to look for better players. No, they're already there. They've already done it. So that's kind of the thinking behind it. So it's a good structure. I love it. I really do love it. I just want it to be a full-time job, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I do love it, man. It's especially when you get a game in, like, you know, I've got a game in Finland and I'm going, wow, I've never seen a game in Finland before. It's great to see. Yeah.
You know what it actually, you know, Saint-Gilloise, because they got a lot of good players that they have now winning the league last season. Did had some good performances in the Champions League, like Promise David, for example.
Yeah.
Very known now, but where did they get him? Go and check, and you see that they get him from one of the usually unknown leagues. That's why a lot of clubs are scouting in those leagues, because there's hidden talent there or hidden gems that you need to look at and just waiting for the opportunity. Yeah, but apart from that, actually, people you can go and see on Loki's X Twitter. You can, I cannot.
Yeah, not yeah.
I cannot. You can go and check these his new threads about the players that he likes, especially with the first one, Enzo Bardelli. We already mentioned him in the past on this channel. Been mentioned Italian, French too, so there's also Italian part on that. But yeah, long threads like I used to do for the post match analysis. But yeah, these ones are specific on players. Basically, there's a lot of also graphics with in-depth detail. So you can go and check it out. I cannot do that. I won't. Lucky sent me the screenshot with all the tweets, because as you know, my account was hacked on the 25th of February. I got the access back on 27, but the problem is that the account was suspended because of the action. I even asked them to do that, because it was sending malware DMs and posting crypto scams on the account. But the problem is that now I have regained the access, but as the account is suspended, I cannot delete the passkey that the hacker put in place. I asked them to do that. They are replying not much, honestly. So I keep sending emails, but people have told me, yeah, just set up another account. Yeah, the problem is that you cannot do that with the email that you use on Twitter, because it's suspended and linked to the other account. So, and I won't do that, because my account is that one. Give me my account back.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. Hopefully they do, mate. It's a disgrace that it's taking this long. Honestly, it's a joke. So. It's annoying me as well, mate. It's
you know what? Actually, people actually criticize Twitter. I still call it Twitter. They criticize it a lot, but I now see the difference. The information, if you start and build a good following in terms of a good portfolio of, okay, I know that these are reliable channels, these are reliable accounts, these are fact-checking accounts, actually. I did that. So I got like the information I was getting for things happening in the world, sports. I was getting that hours before my friends, for example, that don't use Twitter in Italy, because it's not a big thing in Italy. And I missed that, actually, because especially, and you know me, I have a lot of interest in politics, geopolitics, especially with what's going on in the world. You know, I was keeping up with what's going on. And now I cannot, because I only use Facebook and Instagram now. And I only see fake news on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it's really, that's what's really frustrating, you know. But anyway, back on the football. Not international football, but Leeds United at the weekend. Yeah, go on.
I just want to quickly say it, just very, very quickly on the scouting stuff.
Go on.
I've done reports on. I'm going to do reports threads on players on X or Twitter, just because it's hard. Like, as I mentioned before, this industry is so difficult. Rich football clubs just don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. They want to save every penny. So it's hard to get a career out of it, especially early on. You have to be patient. So I think building a profile online is a very good thing to do. I think obviously if you're respectful and you know you don't expose what you're doing or the inner details of a football club that you're working at, obviously
Yeah.
do your own reports, watch your own players, upload them. One day someone might see that and they might think he's good. I'll hire him. So it's good to have. That's why I'm doing it. Keeps me active, and hopefully in the future someone might see it. That's kind of the thinking and kind of the idea behind it. So yeah, for anyone out there that's thinking about it, the best thing to do is just watch football and write about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
I remember. No, don't worry. You can jump in anytime, mate. Honestly, no, it's actually a good point too because I remember now. I cannot remember his name, but there was a good scouting account user, not account. You know, I use Facebook too much these days. A user on Twitter that was doing this type of scouting content actually, and got either thing by Como in Italy,
Yeah.
starting with
Ben,
this.
got him here. Ben Mattinson is called.
Ben Martinson, yeah, and
Very, very
actually,
good. Yeah.
yeah. I used to. Now I cannot anymore. I used to read his tweets. So yeah, actually, Como, they are being criticized these days in Italy because they are doing very well. They will get into Europe. I hope they do because if they do, like, get into UCL, the stadium is not, that does not meet the required criteria for UEFA. So they'll have to move, and there's talks about them moving here, like 500 meters from where I'm at, to Reggio, and
Right.
they'll arrive to play the European competitions here because the stadium does not meet the criteria. So I'll have to go like 5 minutes to UCL football, for example, from the office. So it would be a good thing. I would go and watch every game. So I hope they do. And actually, yeah, they've been criticized because they say, yeah, they are doing very well in Italy, but they don't have an Italian player. They just have, like, there was just one player, one Italian one, that played 1 minute this season, Goldaniga, the defender, center back.
Right.
All the others are foreign players, but
Oh wow.
you know what? Atalanta have done that a lot in recent times, and nobody said anything. Inter, now they have the key of the core of Italian national team: Bastoni, Di Marco, Barella, Frattesi, a lot of players that play, Pier Esposito, that play for Italy. But when they had Mourinho, Julio Cesar, Lucio, Maxwell, Ibrahimovic, Cambiasso, Zanetti, Eto'o, when they won the triplete, the treble, basically, apart from Materazzi and Balotelli, probably the other players were all foreign players. So I don't know why they're criticizing Como these days when, like, 15 years ago, 16 years ago now, Inter was doing the same thing and win the UCL. But yeah, anyway, it was good to talk about this catch up, and also some detail, because it's good for people to understand better, how things are done in the industry. But yeah, going back to our beloved Leeds United at the weekend, I think we obviously chat during the game or after. I think we were both like, okay, we show good things against Brentford, another goalless draw. I think very different compared to the one at Palace, especially because of the red card in the Palace games to Gavin Goodmanson. And this one, I think we're playing at home too. I think it was an absolutely winnable game. For me, it was a must win, 3 points. So I saw that like a bit of a wasted opportunity, looking at how the game, at the story of the game, the momentum in the game. We missed the offensive threat that we needed to take the KO blow, and score the goal. I think we were overall the better team for all game long, but we didn't have the instinct. And I really don't hope we'll talk about the final run-in to avoid relegation for every team. But I honestly still have the feeling of, I really hope that we don't regret missing out 2 points in this game, honestly. But yeah, that's my feeling. I'm a bit, frustrated. I'm a bit not scared, but yeah, just wondering, will we regret this? What's your assessment on that performance, mate? Because I'm still there. I'm still. It hasn't got away from the weekend. Honestly, this kind of feeling, in me.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling because I really like the team. Like, genuinely, I like the players. I think we've got really good personalities there. We can never ever distinguish their kind of hard work and fight that they put in every single week. But I think, and look, I'm not changing what I said. I feel like we've been saying this all season. I think we're over reliant on that. I think all season we've been over reliant, which is great. I mean, you want to overperform, but we've been overperforming for so long since that bad run. I mean, even at the start of the season, when we're on a good run at the start, people forget about that bit. People think we were only good the second half of the season. No, we was good at the start for the first, bunch of games. We were good, overperforming. And then you saw a dip, which happened. We changed shape, we changed mentality a little bit. When we did that, again, I said I don't think it's the formation that's necessarily the big changer. Yes, it helps, but teams will adjust. We need to be adaptable. The back five isn't the answer long term. It's not the only answer. It's not the only solution to a problem. It's part of it. Now what we're seeing is now we're lacking wingers. Now we're lacking 1v1 direct threats. But people want to play back five. People said that was the only answer. The manager's playing that. He thinks that's the answer. I don't personally, this is just not like a tactical, this is just my personal opinion on watching football. Maybe as a coach as well. Maybe this is probably what I'd implement. I could never play a formation without wingers. I just couldn't do it. I just don't like it. For me, growing up, I mean, even now, wingers it's the best thing in football for me. You have your creative players, which are great, but wingers are the ones, you watch any game in the world, the ones that get out the opposition, the ones that create corners, crossing opportunities, goal scoring chances. The wingers, look in the Premier League in the last few years or in any league, the top scorers are usually wingers. The best players in the world are usually wingers. That's because they are the most talented. They're most talented players.
Neymar, Messi in the last
Yamal,
10 years. Yamal,
now. Dembele, obviously. The wingers are the best players in the world. They are the dangerous ones. They're the ones that grab the headlines and the ones that should. People always say strikers are selfish and they're the headline grabbers. I think it's wingers. I think strikers like a bit more of a fight. Wingers just like to run at people and take them on and score worldies. So we don't have that in a team. We're not playing that. I don't like that. I like the team and I like what we're doing. I understand why we're doing it. Don't get me wrong. I understand the physical fight. We're there every game. We can't deny that.
Yeah.
But we're missing, and we've said this all year. I know us two have anyway. I speak for us two. We've said all year we miss Spark. We miss them wingers. Now, people will say to me, and rightfully so, maybe we should play Nonto or James. To an extent, I agree. But even before that, I thought we should have brought in new wingers in the summer. We brought in Okafor, who is talented, obviously, but obviously has his problems with sharpness, staying fit, and consistency. I say this and I say this again. That Paixão, when we missed out on Paixão, that still hurts me, and I should get over it. But he is exactly what we miss in this team. There's so many times I'm looking at this team going, imagine Paixão on that left just picking it up. Like I remember when we played Fulham earlier in the season, they brought Kevin on the left.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed tactically. They just brought Kevin on the left, changed it a little bit, put more players in the box, 1v1 direct.
Yeah, Darlow had to make a great save. I remember at Covent Cottage. When he cut inside, I think it was against Bogle. Yeah, got inside, shot from outside, like one of these shots with a lot of curve, and Darlow had to make a great save. Otherwise, he eventually ended 1-0 because of Gudmundsson on goal. But yeah, he was instantly changed the game. Like you said, didn't change anything tactically for them, but change the momentum because of his specific type of player, 1v1 direct. And that's unfortunately the thing that we're missing, because if I look at our wingers, Okafor for me, I always said is like a hybrid between second. The preferred role for him is a second striker. I don't think he's a winger for me.
No.
So I think he works better in this formation 3-5-2 rather than a formation with wingers. But yeah, that's just my opinion, I reckon.
Yeah, and we've not changed on this. Go back to previous podcasts from start of the season. I've said we need wingers. We need wingers. Look, we'll talk about Buonanotte, but
we got one.
Not much I don't think there's much to say on him. I think it's down to him to play, but I don't think it's that simple. He's got to do more in training, clearly, to get his name in the hat. It's as simple as that. It's not everyone's fair, but when not here, no, it's all fair. He's in the team. If he performs and he can impact the season, which will keep us in the league, of course, the manager will put him in the squad. But he doesn't feel he's doing that. He's coming into the squad. He doesn't deserve he hasn't got a right to start or play anywhere. He's coming into the squad in the middle of the season, a competitive squad. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think we're lacking it. I think I understand people want to play Nonto and Dan James. And look, maybe we should change earlier and change to wingers earlier on in the game. Maybe we should. And
that's my opinion.
And I want to see that. I do want to see that. But I'm still saying this now. I still think we need more out there. And I thought January was a good time to do that, and we didn't. We brought one in who isn't even getting in the squad. Imagine that one we brought in, that could genuinely impact the squad. I mean, we'd probably be fine now. That was probably a little difference. We could need that little bit of spark in the games against Sunderland and Brentford, where we struggle for spark. And we're now relying on, either Aaronson's, even Stach at times, Metra, to be creative in wide areas, when the solution is always have a winger that can do that. When Dan James came on, I don't think he was great, but he changed the dynamic just because he was direct. That's all he was. His execution of his crosses were poor. Everyone's were, by the way, on the day. That's another problem I had with the game. The cross selection was terrible.
Yeah, and we're relying too much on that, honestly.
Yeah, we
for
are.
Me.
Yeah. And Dan James is a functional player in the system. He can impact games. But we're looking for someone that can genuinely turn a game around, have that X factor. And I don't think we have a single player in our squad that can do that. I genuinely don't. I don't think we have it. Like I say, I love our players. They're very good at what they're doing. And if we stay up, it's down to them overperforming.
And the manager.
And the manager, of course. But we don't have the spark. We just don't have it. Whether or not it could have been that, that's up to him. If he wants to put the work in these next 2 weeks, when we've got the break, come back afterwards, and for the last 6 or 7 games, help us out, that'd be amazing. Is he going to do that? I have no idea, but that's down to him. So I don't know, mate. Yeah. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I want to, if you can put up, want to also look at, before that, I need to put the glasses on. I want to look also at the formation that we use against the usual one, of course, the formation that we use against Brentford, and I can see one thing. Like, of course, Aronson is put there by for score, but he was playing, if we look at this heat map too, it will show that he was going more towards one specific side, the right one. The thing is, basically, because he was also called by Fark in a previous press conference 3-4-3. So he sees that as a 3-4-3. We've seen also formations when we had one more midfielder, like, for example, Ampadu, Stach, and Grujev. And Aronson as the second striker, advanced playmaker for me, behind DCL. So we're playing a 3-4-3 now with right back, right wing back, playing as the left wing back. Justin is very reliable. He puts the work in, he's a composed player, very balanced. The problem is that he's right-footed, so every time he was going to the end of the wing, he was going back because he's right-footed, not left-footed. So he cannot cross from there. He cannot be as effective as he's been for us on the right. So again, Gudmundsson is missing. Falke says the natural replacement is James Justin. Yes, because you don't have another one. The problem is that he cannot offer you what Gudmundsson, the sharpness, the edge that Gudmundsson offers you when he's playing there, because he's right-footed and he's more similar to Bogle. So on the other side, on the left, he's not as effective on the right, because he's constantly going to his preferred foot, and he's not going to do what Gudmundsson often does, like the overlap, the run into space to get the cross from the wide position. So that's the first one. Then on the left, we're playing with a number 9 as the left winger, basically. Number 9, DCL, and we're playing with an attacking midfielder as the right winger, because when we play with 3 players, same when we play with Okafor, same but a little bit different. I have to correct myself, because when we play with Okafor behind DCL, it's more like Aronson behind them, moving in the free role, and Okafor closer to DCL. It goes wide, yes, but less time compared to other formation that we used. So with two number nines in this case, we have Aronson going more towards the right wing, Mecha going on the left, but we are not playing with players who are natural in that position. And same with Stach, because we'll talk about the call-ups of DCL and Stach. Stach was classified in the official graphic of the Mannschaft, the German national team, as defensive. And you have the name of Stach there because they consider him, and we'll see where Nagelsmann will play him, during this break for Germany. But he's always considered him, he was always considered in Germany as a number 6. So this new role that is playing well, all things considered this season, he's gone all the line. He's overperformed in that role, better than expected, because it takes time to adapt to a new role and to a different intensity in the Premier League. Falk has even admitted, he adapted well to the level of English football to a different intensity. Yes, that's credit for Stach, because he worked hard, he cemented his place, he adapted his football, his level, his game, compared to when he was playing in Germany. The problem for me is we were praising DCL, we were praising Aronson, we were praising other players. The thing is, I think they went all the line. Now we're seeing a drop in performances from some of them in terms of effectiveness. I'm not saying commitment, effort, tactical awareness, because it's still there. Apart from Aronson in the last few games, because I think he's been given different tasks, different instructions compared to his free role when he thrived towards the end of last year. So again, for me, we go back to recruitment, like you said, with the wingers. If we want to play 3-4-3, why didn't we get the wingers in the summer, or when we changed the formation to a back three in January? Because we have the wingers. Okay, James, the change needed to happen earlier for me too, because if you look at it, the change happened with 7 minutes left. I was pestering you during the game, mate. Like, be brave, Farker. Take a centre back out, switch to a back 4, and bring a winger on, because you need to do that too when we're playing at Villa. And eventually, we would have got the full result at Villa had we changed earlier for me. So again, I'm thinking about, okay, he put Okafor in for Mecha, yes. So it wasn't working in that sense. Even took Aronson out because he wasn't effective. He added an extra midfielder. So natural 3-5-2, taking Aronson out because we had Tanaka, Stach, and Ampadu, and you have the two. So typical 3-5-2. But then again, we were consistently in their own half. We were consistently pushing them. So be brave. We are at home. It's a crucial game. We need to pick up the 3 points, because we'll have tougher fixtures coming up. So it's a crucial match, especially considering and the games that were lined up at the weekend. Eventually, all things considered, the other results smiled to us eventually. But I said, okay, you brought in Okafor. Now bring in the other one, because we need a threat from the right side too. Eventually brought in James. I would have brought in Gnonto, to be fair. Brought on Gnonto. But too late for me. So that switch to a back 4 needed to happen earlier for me, mate. I cannot think otherwise for me.
No, yeah, I agree. But look, I have a big problem with playing without wingers anyway. I just don't enjoy watching it as much. Like, just general football. I mean, not just Leeds. Obviously, I'm invested in Leeds, so I enjoy and hate and love no matter what I'm watching. But I just think football without one-on-one players it kind of epitomizes what football is these days as well. It's not becoming about individual quality now. It's becoming about physicality and managing games. It is over management. Every moment is, can we waste 10 seconds here?
Yeah.
Like the whole thing that we're playing out from the back, we're going back to playing out from the back. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's changed, to be honest. I think it's down to what we have in front. And we look at any team, any single team in the world, usually they're a possession-based team. Almost every team in the world is possession-based. That's the way it is now. Every manager, that obviously comes from, the Peps and all this of the world, that their football philosophy that worked for them has filtered down so much that everyone wants to be that next thing. And that next thing for everyone is domination of possession. But naturally, you get the opposite of that. So the teams that can't keep the ball, they will work every single day on how to maintain a shape to stop possession working. In turn, that then means these creative players that are usually in the pockets have less impact because they're coming deeper to receive the ball. So naturally, with over possession, you get over defensive on the opposite side. And like I was watching Bayern Munich the other week, mate, and obviously it's the best players in the world in that team.
Against?
I'll have to check. It was
in the UCL against Atalanta? No,
it was in the league. It was on YouTube. I'll have a look.
Hamburg. Might be Hamburg.
But I'll have a look. I'll speak while I'm thinking. I'll try anyway. I'm terrible. But Diaz scored. I'll have a look. But but what they did was, so obviously there was times in the game where Mönchengladbach, there was times in the game where Bayern Munich were not on the ball and they were sitting deep. And this is the team that, has all the talent in the world that should win every team in the Bundesliga. They should. They have the best players by far. So why are they sitting deep at times? Why are they not on the ball? There was times where Borussia Mönchengladbach had a lot of the ball for periods of time. And it made me think, well, because Bayern Munich know if Borussia Mönchengladbach are in a block, Bayern Munich are going to struggle to a lot. I mean, I think it was 4-1.
This one.
They won in the end. Yeah. But there was times in the game where, like you say, look at all the momentum they had. There's times in the game where they had the ball so much, but they couldn't necessarily break Borussia Mönchengladbach down because they'd set their shape so well. So their biggest threats came when they didn't have the ball in the counter-attack, because what you've got on the counter-attack is these ridiculously good, direct, quick players that don't have 11 men in front of them. So maybe they're thinking in their head, we can keep we don't need the ball. Let them have it. We'll trust our shape and we'll counter you. Because at a counter-attack, let's be honest, the best team has the best counter-attacking players usually. That's usually how it works. So they're sacrificing some of their possession they had in the game, and a lot of their dangerous moments came on counter-attacks. So football's weird, because they knew in the game that we're going to struggle to break these down. Why don't we let them have it a bit? We'll sit deep and we'll just counter them. And in 3 or 4 passes, we're in, because we have Diaz, we have all these good players. Look at the players. Look at all them players that can have the counter. Musiala,
Carl is mental, man.
Yeah,
what a player! What a player!
So good, yeah. Even Goretzka, man, he ran that game. Was so good.
Yeah.
But that
Probably moving to Italy. Probably moving to Italy in the summer.
Yeah, I thought that'd be cool. So it was kind of like, obviously, they went down to 10 men, which ruined the last bit of the game. But
our friend Rocco.
Rocco, true. It was so kind of interesting to see Bayern Munich. I mean, they had the ball a lot of the time, but when they sacrificed the ball, they looked more dangerous, because every time they won it back, then within 5 or 6 seconds, they were on the edge of the opposition's box, in 3v2 or 2v1 situations. So football's in a weird place, mate. Yeah. And people say Leeds are boring. I think it's football. I think it's struggling to find individual brilliance. And the only kind of way that's coming through is via counter-attacks at the moment, or a ridiculous strike from a player at the edge of the box, or a ridiculous 1-2 through the block where one of their players switches off. But you look at football 10, 15 years ago, you watch Barcelona under Pep, not many teams are playing a low block. And that's why they manage so easily to pass through them.
Yeah,
obviously
absolutely.
Teams are on that. They're on that now. They're not letting that happen.
Man United in that final. Remember that?
Yeah. Man for man press. It was crazy, mate. It was crazy. But yeah, football's weird, mate. It's weird at the moment, to be honest. It's lacking. I don't think it's lacking individual talent, because I think it's there. I think it's lacking kind of the allowance of them individuals, and it's becoming extremely, extremely team-based, and it's sacrificing individuals' 1v1 brilliance, which is the best part of football, in my opinion. Sorry, that was a bit of a long, kind of winded rant.
Yeah, but even look at this, like you mentioned Barcelona back then, and I agree with your point. Like the teams were not used to the block because okay, it was a final, but look at Man United eventually. They had two
Yeah.
proper like Park Ji-sung and Valencia
Mm-hmm.
front row, Chicharito and Rooney, Giggs, Carrick. So these days probably a team will line up against Barcelona with two defensive players here.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and they will try to crowd the area against this Barcelona side. And by the way, at the end of this game, I remember there was an interview of Javier Mascherano, and he said, "Yeah, we had a tough opponent in Leeds United." he, he talked he had beat us in the final. But yeah, by the way, insane team this one. Look at, I don't think there'll be a team like this one no more,
No.
because like when Cruyff in the 80s 90s with Barcelona, Sacchi with AC Milan, Guardiola changed everything with this team, with the way they approached. Eventually even Mascherano, playing as a centre back, a defensive midfielder, number 6, typically moved to the back line to play as a playmaker from the back. People don't talk a lot about this, but it was one of the first to actually move a playmaker from the midfield to the defense. Guardiola, and now we see a lot of that happening. In football, like for example, when Ampadu was playing for us in the back line, he was in a sense a playmaker from the defensive line. Yeah.
But people blame Pep for this. It's not him. It's down to people finding their own individual way of coaching, their own individual way of setting up a team. It's so diluted with similarity football. It is like I said, I watch a lot of leagues of the world, and there is obviously differences in quality and stuff, but generally speaking, a lot of football is just defenders passing it from the back. It is every league I watch. There'll be one team that has more possession. That team will pass it around from the back. The opposition will win it. They'll counter-attack and probably score or create a chance. That's football at the moment. It will change. It always has. It always will. That's the way it is. That's what we're in at the moment, and it is quite boring, generally speaking. I'm hoping that it gets to the point where, and this is where I look at Bielsa and think he's probably, there is a few managers that aren't like that, but he's obviously the obvious one that he just plays his way. I absolutely love that. And he gets criticised for that. But I think if we're all like that, football will be so entertaining. People get criticised, like, these individual coaches that play their way and they get criticised for doing that. I don't mind it. I mean, I understand you need to be adaptable, but what needs to be and what you want to do are two different things. I want football where it's out and out attack, like we did for Newcastle. I love that game. It was so good. I know we lost, but I genuinely enjoyed and hated at the same time every second of it. I loved it. I just did. I just two teams wanting to score goals. I mean, it's great. What we've seen in the last few weeks is it's probably just the state of football, mate. To be honest, I speak to a lot of people. My guy I work with is a Brentford fan, and he's like, yeah, that's what it is. That's the way it is, and it is
transition football a lot now.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that I don't know how it changes. I don't know how we go to a new way where maybe it's when Pep retires. I don't know. Maybe that'll change, and then you know what it needs, mate. It needs kind of a different type of team to win a trophy. I think it does. I think it needs either an underdog who plays a different style, or even like PSG. They play exciting football, but they can because they have the best players in the world. I want a team that, and that's why I'm really, really enjoying NAC in Holland. Oh my god, is it I can't speak. Their style is so unique, and they're doing so well. I think they're third now. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but they're performing every single week, and their front four is a joke. And they just run around. They have fun. They take guys on. They create chances. They're having midfielders attack the box. They're having like defensive midfielders take shots from outside the box 5-6 times a game. It's just great fun. And I love watching them, honestly, mate. And football needs to change because it is boring. It is more boring than it used to be. I don't think I think it just is. You look at the Premier League and every week you're kind of watching it, and I don't look at a team and go, oh, I like what they're doing. Everything's quite similar to
Yeah,
me.
there's no philosophy now that overcomes or makes you think like what happened with Bielsa when we returned to the Premier League. Everyone was, I like watching Leeds, because they're offering something different, and that's credit to Bielsa because we know that everyone apart from our fan base hates us.
Yeah.
But that year, people were having fun watching us and actually
Mm.
liking what we were doing because we were showing something new to the English game. The thing is,
Mm.
if you look at a lower league, no disrespect to the Eredivisie, but if you look to the top five, there's not many coaches. Okay, you hear a lot about certain coaches like Parioli with Porto, De Zerbi. You have the one at Hamburg too, Rolzin, I think. You see, new coaches,
Mhm.
coming up or having to manage. Like Lens are doing very well, second behind PSG in
Yeah, yeah.
France. Uh, like in Italy, Fabregas with Como. But
Mhm.
even looking at Fabregas with Como, they're playing very, very well. But it's not something new. It's something that we have already seen. It's not a new trajectory, a new school, a new philosophy of football coming up.
Mm.
So yeah, I just hope a new messiah of football, like Guardiola, like Cruyff in the past, arrives, like Nero Rocco with AC Milan, with the Catenaccio in
Mm.
the 60s. We just need a new coach that will bring new ideas to the game.
Yeah.
Because so far, I think even coaches like everyone praised Iraola, but you can see there's shades of what he inherited from Bielsa,
Mm.
and even the Zerbi, something that inherited from other managers, So yeah, it's getting a little
Mm.
bit standard, like you said. There's very
Yes.
styles that you can identify, but there's not a new style that people struggle to read. Like they did
Mm.
when Barcelona was playing under Pep.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's all becoming just I don't know, very boring and basic. And
standard.
look. Yeah, you can analyze a game and be it is impressive. Like teams are so organized these days, extremely organized. I mean, look, we rarely give up big chances, against really good attacks because our defensive shape allows that. But I'd sacrifice that a little bit so we could score more goals and have more creative players. I would. That's how I love football. Look, if we stay up playing this way or whatever, that's the way it is. That's the league we're in. That's the situation we have to be in this moment. But I remember last year watching Feyenoord almost every game. Pai Shao and Haj Musa on the wings was the best football I'd seen. Like it was just so fun
Leo
every single
Sauer
week.
too this year.
Yeah, this year, young lad
Roma
doing really
want him.
well.
Roma want him. I heard that on the
Yeah,
radio this morning.
he might be on my list if we stay in the Premier League, mate. But
Yeah,
I love it. That's why I like the Eredivisie, just because they produce good wingers there. Like, I know it's a stereotype, but they always have and they always do. And it's a wing play league. The wingers do really well in the league. Creative players do well in the league, mainly because the defenses are not great. But
yeah,
but it's entertaining to watch. It is entertaining to watch. Whereas most football is a team passing out to the defenders 15 times in a row, looking for a pocket in midfield, and then a winger goes out wide, then he plays it back to the fullback and back to the centre back. It's like, come on, get on the ball, take your man on, win a foul. That's why I love like people like Zalazar and Gustavo Sarr. I love all these players because in central players because they just get on the ball and strive at people, and I love it. And look, who's to me to say I'm not a coach? I'm not in this pressured environment. Who am I to say sacrifice some stability for some fun? You know, but someone's got to do it, and I think someone will, and hopefully that's soon. And hopefully they have success with it, like you said. So if they have success with it, other people will take note of that and hopefully implement that style. But even now, mate, even if someone's trying to implement that style, it's hard because another team will just sit deep in a low block.
yeah.
Like, how do you do it? It's
You know what?
mm,
I hope that the new manager that changes football plays this formation 3-3-3-1,
right.
like
Yeah,
three
maybe.
centre backs,
Yeah.
a number 6, and two versatile midfielders
Mm-hmm.
that can cover, can get forward.
Mm.
Like one of them can get forward and join the attack. and also help defensively, Then you have two proper wingers, a number 10 and a number 9.
Mm.
And of course, when you are
Yeah.
defending, you switch to a more defensive formation because
Yeah.
you will have to require the wingers to be also involved in the defensive end in that sense. But yeah, I would like to see a more prominent, more front foot football. Let's call it that, front foot football. A more bold approach to a game, because these days there's many conservative philosophies, that are making the game boring for me.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And it'll change. It always has. I mean, you look at football 5 years ago, it's different to what it is now. You look at football 15 years ago, it's completely different to what it is now. It will change. It could go one or two ways. It could get even more. And just one more little thing on it as well. I think rules are an important part of that. I think I speak for the Premier League. To be fair, when I watch the Bundesliga, time wasting there isn't really an issue. It's like the ball is in play a lot, and it's fun in that sense. But you watch the Premier League, and wasting time is rewarded. There's no real downside to it. Refs don't really clamp it down till the 90th minute or the 85th minute. The keeper again against Brentford went down and he was obviously fine. There's got to be harsher rules for me about time wasting. Every throw-in should be you got 3 or 4 seconds to get it back in, or you booked.
Like NBA, no,
yeah.
Like in basketball, 5 seconds. Yeah,
I think it should be, and it needs to be implemented though. It's all right having a rule; it needs to be implemented. It'll stop it. Simple as that. If a goalkeeper's injured, maybe your captain has to go off the pitch for a minute. I know it sounds hard, but it'll stop the time wasting. There's so many times where the ball's out of play and it's slow, and then when it's in play, it's just been passed around the centre backs or the back four. And this is football. This is not Leeds, by the way. This is like every game I seem to watch. So rules need to change. Time wasting
approach.
Yeah, VAR. God, just get rid of it, or just get people that can actually use it. Yeah,
exactly. That one.
It's so overregulated, football. It's so overregulated now. If we're spending 5 minutes checking if something's offside, it's not offside. Play on. Give the goal. I'm sorry. It should take 30 seconds to look. I think that's what we should do it. We shouldn't do it on if they're offside or not. We should do it on from what we're looking at. Can you say they're offside? Because it shouldn't take 5 minutes. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Football isn't played like that. Football's played in the moment, I don't know.
Yeah, I had a flash. I had a flash when you said give the goal. Just give the goal. I have a flash of an Argentinian man on the touchline road in that Villa game saying, give the goal. Give the goal. So yeah, talking about Bielsa, we'll use that as a link up. Marcelo as a link up because he's going to be facing England with Uruguay, of course. So first question for you. I'm looking at the England squad, at the strikers, of course, number 9s. So Harry Kane, Dominic Solanke, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. All the others are wingers, basically. Of course, Rashford can also play as a 9, but he's a winger for me. Then you have not called up for this international break. The other two that have been involved in the last 12 months, Ollie Watkins and Ivan Toney. Do you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a chance to go to the World Cup?
I'm just going to get the team up here.
Yep.
Do you know what? I think...
who would you take for strikers at the World Cup? If you was Tuchel.
Yeah, obviously Harry Kane is the number 1. He'll play most of the minutes. Who are the other two again? Who are the other ones? We've got DCL.
Yeah. Solanke.
I'm trying to find the actual lineup here.
Solanke.
One sec, mate.
Where's the actual? When I sent you the link. I sent you the link I'm using too. Shout out Wikipedia English version.
Yeah, right. Apologies, people. Right, we're up. I can't remember names. I'm terrible. Yeah, so for me, Solanke, I don't even know how he's been doing, to be honest. What I will say is, he's got a chance, of course. People talking about Welbeck as well. These are players that, in my opinion, are good players, but I don't think they're better than DCL on the day. I think they're quite similar. I think they can all do similar things. Obviously, Harry Kane is levels and levels above. Ollie Watkins on his day is probably better than the others, but he's been hit and miss this season. I think he's got a real chance. I think it's in his hands. I do. But what I will say is, he needs a good end to the season now. I think if he needs to get goals, mate. He does.
Yeah.
I think he needs to score goals. And this might sound harsh, but for me, he's done so well this season, DCL. He's been really good. He literally carried us through. Not carried us, but his goals got us the points we needed. You know, and at the end of the season, if we stay up, it's down to his goals in that middle period. But he's got so much pressure on him, in my opinion, because he's an England striker. He's done it before. He's there now. We need him now in these last few games to score goals. You know, that penalty miss. Yeah, look, he didn't. Obviously, I'm not going to go at him. It happens. But he's got to use that now, and he's got to react to that, and he's got to, right, I'm sorry for that. You're the penalty taker. You need to score. These are high-pressure moments. If you don't score, you've got to make up for it in the next weeks. You've got to score goals. So I think for him to get into England, he needs to score more. I think he's playing...
Scoreless in 6 games, including the FA Cup.
Yeah, and that needs to improve. And he'd say that. He knows that. Obviously, he's done it. He knows what's required to keep Leeds in the Premier League and to get into the World Cup squad. I think if he can get 3 or 4 in the last 7 or 8 games, I think that'll do it. I genuinely do. I know that might sound a lot, but I think he's capable. But what we also need to do, we need to put better balls into the box. I touched on it earlier. I think the deliveries in the box have been so bad.
Yeah,
I can't. I think there's been one against Sunderland in the Brentford game and the Sunderland Brentford game. There was one that went to his head and he actually did all right to get it on target, but it was a little far out. Obviously, he missed the penalty. But apart from that, I genuinely can't recall any good cross into the box to him. That needs to improve straight away. And that's where the conversation of wingers come in, who can get the ball into the box. Nonto on the right maybe doing that. There's a conversation. But for me, mate, I think his general play is up and down. I think that depends on the game state, what we're doing, how we're giving him service. When he scores, he'll be more confident as well, naturally.
Yeah.
And to do that, he needs to score goals. So I do think he can do it. I think he's good enough. I think that the form he had this season, where he scored all them goals for that period of time, was so good and so pivotal to what we needed. But we need him to do that again. We need a little burst at the end of the season.
Yeah.
For him to go to England and for his to stay up, I think we need that. That sounds like a lot of pressure, but it is a lot of pressure. He's our number 9. So score the goals, mate.
Absolutely needs to return on that. Like I said, I mentioned Aronson before, but even DCL, like I said, scoreless in 6. We got to the point and to the run we were on, the positive one, towards the end of last year and the start of the current one, because of DCL scoring a lot of goals for us. What's changed? People say we don't score anymore, we don't create anymore like we used to do, but that's the thing. Last 6 games, DCL hasn't got as many chances as he used to get before, like you said, the crosses too. But yeah, if I were Tuchel, honestly, I will take, regardless of form, you have 26 players, 3 number 9s, of course, Harry Kane, then aerial threat, DCL, and a more versatile one, but physical, Ollie Watkins. These are the 3 that I will get, to be fair, for England. But apart from DCL, of course, there's been another player that has returned to the national team fold. When he made his debut, he was still playing for Mainz, so even before Offenheim, the Offenheim days. So I'm talking about Anton. I'm talking about Anton Stach, of course, for Germany. So I'm looking. Of course, there needs to be a disclaimer in this case, because I will ask you the same thing that I asked you for DCL, as he got a chance to go to the World Cup actually. But there needs to be a disclaimer, because do they see him as a number 8, like he's playing at Leeds, or do they see him as a number 6? Because I'm looking at the midfielders for Germany currently called up for the friendlies against Switzerland, so against Noah Okafor and Ghana. And you have Pascal Gross, Joshua Kimmich, Kai Havertz, Leon Goretzka. Then you have wingers, of course. Angelo Stiller, very good player, I like him a lot. And then you have Anton Stach, basically, because all the others are wingers or attacking midfielders. Karl, Nabri, Sané, Wirtz, Schurik, Schede. So I think looking at Pascal Gross, I think Nagelsmann might see Stach as an alternative to Pascal Gross for me. That's my opinion. So it would be very tight, very difficult for him to get into the national team squad, because also there were key players that were called up but missed out on this current international break because they are injured. And two of them are Alexander Pavlovic of Bayern Munich, and the other is Felix Mecha of Borussia Dortmund.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think he will go, and I'm not saying he can't. Like, I'm not saying he won't go. I just think naming all them names, they're all, well, a lot of them are borderline world class midfielders as well.
Yeah.
Stach's very, very good on his day, and in the right system can be extremely effective. And I really like him. I do. But that is harder for me than the DCL one. I think there's a lot more competition, and there's a lot of players playing well. There's one more as well. There's the young lad at Hertha as well. I've forgotten his name.
Eichhorn.
Yes.
Kenneth Eichhorn. Yeah.
If you know, he's linked to Bayern Munich, he'll probably go there in the summer. That could be one where they just bring in a little wild card when they've got their solid midfield to get that experience. That happens. Teams do it.
Yeah.
National teams
like Theo Walker in 2006.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's so much competition for him. I really hope he does. But again, I think it's a good opportunity for him now if he goes out there and gets a game or gets half to prove himself. Like you say, he's done it before. He's been there before. I find it so funny that everyone was criticising Nagelsmann on what he was saying about Stach, and then he goes and calls him up. That is testing the player. That's testing the character of the player. That's testing how the player will react. A manager that criticises a player is a manager that likes the player because they want to test them and they want to get the most out of them. I watched the official Leeds podcast today and yesterday, and Strauch was on it. And he spoke about how Bielsa would call the youth players up to train with the first team. And if he didn't like you, if you didn't do good enough, he'd just say your name and say, go back. You're done, finished. But he did it to test them. How would they react to that? Would the heads go down? Would they swoop? Because some would refuse to come back because they didn't want to. Whereas Pascal obviously was the guy who wanted to come back. He wanted to continue that. If he got told, leave, you're not good enough, when he got asked again, he'd be straight back there to try to prove himself. That is testing the player. It's testing what they can do. I do it as well at football. People think criticism from a manager to a player is them slagging them off. It's not. It's in public. Everyone can see it. The manager knows they're going to see it. They want them to see it. It's a test. If you take it the right way, you'll prove the manager right or wrong, depending on what context you're looking at. Or you can do what some players do. You can sulk about it, moan about it, reduce training, say the manager's this, the manager's that, and then get sent out. And then look at the career of some of these players. They don't make it. Not because they're not talented, not because they're not good, but because they don't create criticism well. And that's what that was to Stach. He's setting him a task. He's probably already spoke to him by that point saying, I'm probably going to call you up. But I need this, and this to improve if you want to pay for the World Cup. He's giving him a chance now to prove himself for him, under him. So the criticism was fair because he's giving him a chance after that. He needs to prove it, and I hope he does. And wouldn't it be great to have, Stach going for Germany from a Leeds player and then an England player? For the club, if we stay in the Premier League and we have internationals at the World Cup for top nations, that's great for the club. If you want to bring in a German international, or that will help. Of course, it will. It's proof that playing for Leeds in the Premier League can get you call up. So, for our selfish perspective as a club and for them personally, I hope they do it. It'd be so good. But we'll see. It'll be tough. It'll be very tough for Stach. Very tough.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think he sees him more. Of course, he was included in the defensive part of the graphic too, and listen to Nagelsmann. We always said when he signed, he's a number 6. I think in Germany they still see him as a number 6. So I think, or at least a physical player that can get forward, but in his position, then he will have Goretzka, Pavlovic. If they see him as a 6, it will have Stiller, Gross, Kimmich. So it's really
Metro.
tough. I hope he goes Mecha to Felix,
Yeah.
of course, not Lucas.
Yeah.
I hope he goes. But yeah, we'll see. But before the World Cup, of course, we have another excitement. Whatever you decide to see that, or from the side you decide to see the excitement. Probably Newtons will enjoy it. We will less. It's the final run in to avoid relegation from the Premier League, and it's crucial for us for the plans of the owners, and it's really tight. So I've made this graphic. You can see also a new logo up top with
Yes.
the old peacock returning. And the font, is inspired by the font that they used to use in the 70s at least. So this is the current situation in the table. I think Wolverhampton, they are 17 points, so 3 behind Burnley, but it would be like a mission impossible with Tom Cruise if they stay up. So, and I decided to include these 6 teams. So Palace, 39 points. Leeds, no, let's look at that from the bottom. So Wolverhampton, 17 points, 6 games. Burnley, 6 games, 20 points. West Ham United, 29 points, 6 games. Tottenham, 30 points, 6 games. Forest, 32, 6 games. Leeds, 33 points, 6 games. Palace, 39, 7 games, because they have a game in hand that is this one with Man City. So they have one more game compared to the others. So looking at form in the last 5, the most lively one has been Palace. 2 wins in the last 5. Forest, they are coming out a big win, crucial one for me, in North London at Spurs. West Ham, they had their ups and downs, but 2 draws, 1 win. The team that is absolutely struggling right now is Tottenham. 4 defeats and 1 draw. And Burnley, but I think Burnley are doomed, to be fair, because it's a big gap between, it's 10 points, basically, between the 17th placed and Burnley. So I think they are very doomed, but they have some key clashes against us, against Forest, against Wolves. So anything can happen, but it will be very, very difficult. So starting from Palace, I have basically placed the final run for each team and put green for, I think, winnable, easy game for them compared to the others. Yellow in the middle, red, difficult one. So I think Palace will, with a game in hand, they will stay up comfortably, honestly. So I think they will. Sorry, there's a phone.
It's all right.
Yeah, they will make 10 points in the final 7 games. We will make 12 points in the final ones for me. So we will stay up. Forest, they will stay up 15 points. They will make more points than us, so finish above us, basically. 47 points and us 45. I think Spurs will go down. They will make just 8 points. Because if you look at the line of fixtures, they have to go to Sunderland. Then they have Brighton at home. Go to Wolves. It seems an easy game, but Wolves, they don't have anything less to lose. And Spurs, with everything, the pressure crumbling down on them, it would be a difficult game going to Wolves for them. Then they have to go to Villa. Look at these 2 away games next to each other in the Midlands. Then they have us at home, and the final 2 they have Chelsea away and Everton at home. And Everton have proven to be a very good team this season. So starting from this, I think Spurs, Wolves, and Burnley will go down, and West Ham will eventually stay up. I think West Ham will make points in this next run of fixtures, because if you look at the next one, is Palace play at home against Newcastle. We go to Man United. Villa go to Forest. So Forest have Villa at home. Spurs go to Sunderland. Tough game for them. West Ham have a winnable game against Wolves at home. And then Burnley have Brighton at home. So these were my predictions, mate. What Do you agree? Do you see something different, especially looking at the every match day, that you have lined up? Of course, Palace have one more because they have a game in hand.
Yeah, we were actually speaking about this a few days ago. We're about who's going to be that third team to go down, which is what it is now. Yeah, Palace will be fine. I think they've just got enough there. I think Tottenham's such an interesting conversation because we're going through the squad work before. They have a lot of injuries, but they've still got a good squad there. Without the injuries, they've still spent millions. There's still loads of good players in that team. They do get the midfield. They get Palhinha back. Is it Palhinha? Yeah.
Palhinha and Bentancur, yeah.
In a few weeks. So that will be quite big. I think, depending on how they come back and how that works, I think that could be decisive in either way for me. If Spurs do it, I do feel like it will be in the last 2 or 3 games. I have a feeling our game versus them could be very big.
Yeah.
A few months ago, we were looking at the West Ham one, the last game of the season. I'm looking at the one against Spurs now, away. I think that's going to be a big game.
Yeah.
But for me, you look at form, you look at state of the club, you look at fan reaction. I'd still argue we're probably the happiest. Yeah, there's frustrations there with certain things, obviously. West Ham probably more happy than they were, but they're still in the bottom 3. They're still 18th. Yeah. Obviously, Burnley are gone. Forest are probably a little more happy now. Recent form's pretty good. But we're probably okay. We're probably on the just slightly lower than we were a few weeks ago. But I just think, looking at our team and the way we play, do we have that individual quality? No, of course we don't. As in comparison to everyone else in the league. Obviously, we have good players. But do we have them individuals that can win you a game when you're in it, when you're in the rubbish, when you're not really? We rely on either a good cross, a good ball into the box, a good move. We can't really rely on an individual 1v1, take the man on, hit it in the top corner. I don't think that's happened much this season. But we don't look like a team for me that's going to go down. I just feel like the lads, the manager, together, the environment is really good. They're confident. They know what they are as a team. They know what we're capable of. But I think they also know how to get a result, even if that's a draw. I think that's important. We're not losing a lot, against good teams we are, but we're getting points and people are criticising that. But for me, mate, them points are key. Like, we could have easily lost against Sunderland and Brentford, with 10 men for 45 minutes. It's so hard. And we didn't lose it.
Palace,
we didn't really, Palace, sorry. We didn't really let off a chance in that either. So we're not giving loads of chances away. We're not getting wide open. We're not speaking about our players now going, oh, they don't care. We know they do. We know they work hard. We just know we don't have the best individual quality. But we've gotten this far. We're 15th. There's teams below us that all need to do better than us, by the way. All of them need to do that for us to go down. Are all them 3 below us going to do better than us in the last few weeks? I don't think so. I don't. Mm-hmm. If they do, fair enough. We didn't deserve it, obviously. But for me, yeah, it's hard. Honestly, I still think West Ham, just simple reason. Well, it depends on the Somerville thing. That's huge as well. How long he's going to be back? It's a bit weird with him. They're not really saying. But I just think for them, they've been in the bottom 3 for so long. Even when they're playing all right, they're getting some results, but they're still there. How long can they, I guess, keep that? And that depends on how good the environment with the players is, which seems pretty good. I actually think, in a weird way, the FA Cup game against them is quite big in terms of confidence. Away, I think we need to win them away. I think that'll be good for us, confidence, the FA Cup, when we get back from the international break. Nottingham Forest are a weird one. I've not really watched too much of Forest, apart from when we played them. They look terrible. Obviously, they've got a new manager now. They seem to be finding a bit of form as well. So, for me, I just think, and there's no logic in this thinking. You look at that and you go, Spurs are going down. Look at the form, the environment at the club.
Yeah, the fixtures
so bad.
For me, especially the fixtures. Look at the away games that they have. They have more away games than home games.
True. There's just a little thing in me that is, but look at their squad. All they needed, really, because they are above the other 2, all they need is a 2 or 3 game run where they get a few points, and I think that'll be enough for them. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's entertaining. I bet everyone's loving it. That's not any part of it, to be honest. But I'll stop. I think we stay up, of course. I think Forest stay up. I just think
I think they will.
Gonna edge it. I don't know why.
I don't think so, honestly, because if they stay with Tudor, for me they go down.
Yeah.
If they stay with Tudor, but I don't see a leader in their team, and they are not used to these players. That are not used to the pressure of being the first squad to send Tottenham to the Championship. So honestly,
I agree, Andre. It's not logic. I just can't envision.
No.
I can't do it. It's weird.
The League One teams are doing that. Honestly, if you look at the chants when they go like, "We're going to Tottenham, you're going to Barton," something like that. They're chanting. But I'm looking at the fixtures. I think if we win the 3 home games that we have left, Wolves, Burnley, and Brighton, we stay up automatically, even if we lose the away games, because Tottenham was behind us. They have to go to Sunderland. They have to go to Villa. They have a derby, London derby at Chelsea. Everton, I don't think they beat Everton on the last day of the season. It's easier for them to beat Brighton, us, and Wolverhampton. I think the fixtures against Sunderland, Villa, Chelsea, and Everton, they don't win those. They don't win in these games. On the other hand, I think Forest can get points out of the home game against Villa, against Burnley, even against Newcastle, at home, because Newcastle are, if you watch the games against Sunderland, they are very odd team, They seem to be in control, then everything falls apart this season. They have the final day of the season, Forest, they have Bournemouth at home. So, I think eventually Forest will stay up. I think Tottenham, it's it's the toughest run of fixtures for the teams involved for me, apart from Palace. But Palace, because if you look at Palace, they have Newcastle, Liverpool, Everton, Man City, Arsenal, but they have one more game than the others. So I think Palace, if they win against West Ham, they're probably safe. If they win at home against West Ham, they are probably safe. So for West Ham, on the other hand, I think they might beat Wolves. They might beat Everton. I think honestly, I see them winning more games. I see games like Palace and the Brentford one more winnable than the one they have at home against Everton and the final 3. I think West Ham Leeds draw. I don't know why, but I don't think with the tension of the game, I think we'll end in a draw. I think it will end in a draw, but
I don't think it'll go to that game. I think it'll be done by then. Or it'll be a matter of, we just need to get a point or something like that. I don't know. I think, I honestly think...
Imagine we both needed a point. But Barnsley, Huddersfield 2.0. Huddersfield, Barnsley 2.0.
Mate, I don't know. Do you know what, though? Like, if I'm speaking logically and try to put my coaching head on here, not my fan head, the environment at Spurs is really bad, and an environment is everything in football. Being in a good environment, you stick together, you get through stuff together. It's the team. That's what a team is. You look at any team in not just football, but anything in life. A team that sticks together is the one that wins. Are they that? We are. I know we are. I know our players will stick together. I know that. I think Forest will. I think West Ham have found that. But our Spurs, if they find that, which again, will they? Probably not. But if they did, for even 3 or 4 games at the end, when it's really reality that we will go down if this doesn't happen, that'll be the crunch time. Then they'll stay up. But will they do that? They've not so far. And look at that. I mean, look at the last 5 games. 4 losses as well. 4 losses. They're not draws, they're losses. Like I said with us, we've got 2 losses, but we've got 3 draws in there. Them 3 points, look at the difference. They're the points between us and Tottenham. Look at Forest, 2 losses, 2 draws. Same for West Ham, 2 draws in there. Tottenham's are losses. So you're probably right, mate. I don't know.
Honestly, it would be like, of course, it's not comparable because they've been powerhouses, but like River Plate went down, Juve was relegated for other reasons. Leicester, they won the league in 2016, they went down. Newcastle went down quite a few years ago. West Ham went down. So, but Tottenham is different because they won European trophies. They were in the Champions League final 7 years ago, 2019. And for a club that has inaugurated recently a new stadium, it's already been 7 years now, but recently a new stadium and a team that won the Europa League, the second competition in Europe last season, to go down, it would be mind blowing, honestly.
But you know what, Andre?
Yeah.
They finished 17th last year.
Yeah, I know, but people talk like actually we said that, I think, one of the last times we spoke about. No, actually, I was speaking with when I was with Jer. I said this, the thing that you said, is like last season they didn't have a great season, but they eventually focused on Europe and they won the cup. But last season there were 3 teams below them that were already relegated by like the bleak midwinter, like the big blinders will say. So in the middle of like February and March, they were already basically down, because if you look at the gap of points between Man United, Tottenham, and the other teams below them, the 3 that went down, it was done. It was done already. This season is different. But last season probably they said, "Oh, we are all safe. It's just a bad season. There's no way the 3 teams that are going down can reach us. So let's focus on Europe." But it shows you that if you don't have solid foundations and you don't bring proper professionals in terms of seasoned officials at the club, director of football, etc., eventually the football will catch up to you and you will pay the price. Or risk to pay the price, but I think they will pay the price this time. And if they go down, it will do good to them, honestly, because the championship is lethal. It's lethal. They aren't used to that. They will need to do a major overhaul and bring in leaders, because their best leader is Romero, and he's struggling to get sent off a lot.
I saw a thing on X where a guy put their potential team in the championship, obviously getting rid of all the top players, and I looked at that team and went, I think you're underappreciating how competitive the championship. There's loads of kids in there, and I'm going, guys, it's not like that. It's hard. It's a tough league. It's a men's league. It's hard. But yeah, like I was just looking at the table, and it's what people are talking about. Tottenham have lost 15 times. We've lost 12.
Yeah.
Like, we've got 12 draws. We've lost less than Fulham in 9th, Newcastle in 12th. We've got the same amounts of loss. We've got 1 more loss than Brentford, 1 more loss than Everton. Like everyone around us has got 16, 15, 15, 19, 20. We're on 12 losses. So them points, although I agree with you when I say we can look back at them points if we go down, especially the home ones, and go, we should have done more.
Sunderland, Brentford.
Yeah, of course. But they're the points that are just keeping us above that 3 at the moment. And I think we've got to look at the team and the mentality. I think they're all right with a point because they believe that they can always get a point in a game, if that makes sense. We kind of know how to get a point. We struggle to find wins, but we know how to get a point out of something because we're competitive. Whereas Spurs just don't know how to get a point. They're just losing. Yeah.
And that's the reason, mate. I remember what I said at the start of the season. If we finish 17, even 1 point above the red zone, it's a miracle by Farke and the players. Because if I look at our squad, like earlier I mentioned, we are playing with the right wing back at left back. We're playing with the number 9 as left wing, attacking midfielder as right wing. We're playing with our backup keeper at the start of the season as the starter too. So I always said it's a miracle, and build a strategy for Farke and the players if they stay up. Because if you look at the depth and the money spent by Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, West Ham, Palace, the teams around us, they have spent way more than us. They have more depth than us. they have spent more in January than us compared to us. So pound for pound, they are better than us in terms of we are always relying on the same players to overperform because we don't have the proper replacements. Even when they were given chances, we have those 11 players. We have those 11 players. The others, the reserves, the substitutes, so 50-50. So if we stay up even by 1 point, it would be monumental because look at the squad, like you said, look at their squad, look at Tottenham, look at Forest, look at West Ham. And we haven't touched the fact that Tottenham were playing 2 weeks ago in the UCL knockout stages. Forest are still involved in the Europa League knockout stages. Palace are still involved in the Conference League knockout stages. And West Ham had made a team to try to get around 8, 9 with the hope of trying to get maybe a Conference League, these positions. But they have problems. So my prediction was Man United loss. The 12 points that we made towards the end of the end of the season. Loss against Man United, so 0. Wolves at home, 3 points. Bournemouth away, 1 point. Burnley at home, 3 points. Spurs away, 0 points. Brighton at home, 3 points. And West Ham away, final day of the season, 1 point. So it's 9 from the 3 home games and 2 draws. Bournemouth and West Ham away, 12 points.
Do you know what would be...
It goes to like in the Eurovision.
Do you know what would be so funny? So I said a few weeks ago, I think, that in a weird way, our home form slipping could take us down.
Yeah.
If that's the case, because our away form is obviously poor and it has been all year. And our home form's been propping us up. And recently our home form's been poor. Wouldn't it be a crazy situation where we lose our home form, but then we gain an away form, and in the last few games, the away form is the form that keeps us in the Premier League?
Yeah,
that would be the most Leeds thing. We'll beat Man United, we'll lose to Wolves, then we'll beat Bournemouth, we'll lose to Burnley, then we'll beat Spurs. I can't take this club, Andre. I'm convinced that's going to happen, mate. I don't know why. I just am.
Yeah. So because you can't take it anymore now, we'll switch to the final part of. No, I don't know why I took that off, honestly, because I forgot that I had the next slide right into the same document. All right, let's bring this up again. So the final part that I wanted to avoid till 1 hour and 27. It's because in Italy it's 4 p.m. right now. So time is ticking. Tension is building. I don't know when this will go up. Maybe. If it goes up tomorrow, you will have already know the result. If it goes up before the game, you will understand my facial expressions changing. So here we are. The ghosts of the past have returned. Today when we are recording this is Thursday, 4 p.m. in Italy, 3 p.m. in the UK, of course. So Part A, the playoffs, of course, it's one leg, so single match. Part A, you have Wales against Bosnia and Herzegovina and Italy versus Northern Ireland. Part B, Ukraine against Sweden and Poland versus Albania. Part C is Slovakia versus Kosovo and Turkey versus Romania. They will actually play at 6 p.m. Italy time, so 5 p.m. UK time. So it will be the first game of the day. Czechia against Republic of Ireland. And Denmark against North Macedonia. Honestly, people were talking too much about, if we, Bosnia. Don't underestimate Northern Ireland, honestly. They are weaker compared to when they qualified for the last major tournament, Euro 2016, when they had Norwood, Cathcart, McCauley, Stuart Dallas, never played a minute, but Will Grigg, the hit of the tournament. Kyle Lafferty, Niall McGinn, Jamie Ward, I think too. Yeah, probably. Michael McGovern. They were better than, I think. Now they have Shea Charles, Isaac Price, very young players. Kier Reid up front, Odeon Charles. Then they have Jason Devaney from Palace. We face Rory McConville. against Norwich. Bailey Peacock Farrell in goal. Honestly, if Italy doesn't beat Northern Ireland, I don't want to sound like Brian Clough when Poland knocked out from the qualifiers England in 1974 when he said to Jan Tomaszewski, the goalkeeper of Poland at the time, he said, he's looking at this goalkeeper style, goalkeeping style, he's a clown. Called him a clown, and eventually England didn't win that game and didn't qualify for the World Cup that year. But I know Peacock Farrell, he didn't do well at Leeds. He started well, but it wasn't meant to be in the end. He has his weaknesses. We will play with a front two, Retegi and Ken, with Piers Posito coming off the bench in the second half. I have read that Arsenal are interested in him for next season. We will play with a 3-5-2. So I think it will be Donnarumma, Mancini, Calafiori, Mancini, Bastoni. Then there's the 50-50 between Politano from Napoli on the right, but he's a winger. He will play as a right wing back. So because of course Calafiori will go wide, and you will have Politano playing as a winger in possession. Between Politano and Palestra from Cagliari, very good. He will play for Atalanta next season. Then you have Barella, Locatelli and Tonali, and Di Marco on the left, and Ken and Retegi. So it's a good team on paper. It's a good team. Not much pace in the middle apart from Tonali, but we need to beat Northern Ireland, honestly. If we don't beat Northern Ireland, we need to close Italian football, honestly. We need to close Italian football. It's over. It's even worse than when we were knocked down by North Macedonia. Probably there's nothing that will top that. But at least they had players like Alioski was playing, Bardi, players that played in top leagues, Northern Ireland, there were talks I read the papers this morning in Italy, like they said, all of them playing in the Serie B, in the second tier in England. But I thought to myself, if I look at the first 9 teams of the championship and compare them to Serie B, apart from Palermo, Venezia, and Monza, probably they will beat every other team, pound for pound. So again, this notion that they're playing in the second tier, have we not learned anything from the past, But yeah, if we go through, I really fear, honestly, Wales. I hope we face Bosnia, because Wales, I know the players too well. I know how Cardiff can be noisy. With Aymarohid, and Ivladau. And especially they are fast. They have more intensity than us. Ari Wilson. All these players, David Brooks, all the players that they have. Ampadu in the middle. They are fast. They have pace. Ampadu is the number 6, of course, but all the others, they have pace, more intensity than ours. So yeah, I hope we qualify, but if we don't, it would be madness, honestly, because like I said, I was 17 the last time we played a game at the World Cup against Uruguay. The time Suarez bite Chiellini. So yeah, what do you think will qualify, mate? Between these, you have to pick one team out of these 4 parts for each one of them.
Yeah, I think.
And don't jinx us.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, yeah, you'll qualify. You should.
Hopefully.
You should qualify.
Yeah.
You should. You absolutely should. I think you will. Wales are really good. Bosnia as well. All of them, they're competitive, obviously. They're all decent nations there, to be fair.
Bosnia too, yeah.
Just looking through, thinking of players that play for each one. So, but, I mean, you stand out. Don't you? Just do. The depth you have, the amount of players you have, the level they play at every week. You should win that. You should go through. Path B. Ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Probably edge Sweden. I think.
Graham Potter.
Yeah, good attack as well.
Gyökeres and Isaac.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, isn't it? To be fair, it's not too bad.
And Elanga too. Elanga and Kulusevski, if Kulusevski was available, of course.
Yeah. Then Path C. I don't know. Turkey always seem to underperform what they should with the quality of players they have. That seems to be a thing. I don't know why. They always have good players, but they never seem to do as much as they should. Slovakia, though, that's a tough one.
I think Slovakia,
I'll go,
man.
Yeah. I'll go Slovakia with that. Yeah, tough, competitive. Path D, that's hard as well.
Yeah.
Czech Republic, Denmark, Ireland, obviously, and then North Macedonia. I kind of want to say Ireland. Good players, underrated players in that team. A lot of good depth, to be fair. Ireland, they've got a good squad. But Denmark, though, I mean, some of the players.
Yeah, Ireland.
Yeah, there's loads in there.
Isaacsen.
For my family's sake, I hope it's Ireland. But
because you have an Irish heritage, because people don't know.
My granddad's Irish, yeah. So obviously I'm quarter Irish. Yeah, my granddad came from Ireland to England when he was early teens, late teens. So yeah, mum's side are Irish. My dad's side are English, but if we go back a few generations, they come from France. So yeah, there we go.
Then we are enemies.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't like to mention that bit. I don't. But I'm going to go Denmark.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Actually, I think we beat Northern Ireland tonight. If we face Bosnia in Zenica, we qualify. If we face Wales, because remember Wales missed out on the last Euros, losing the final at home against Poland. I think Wales will go to World Cup, not us.
Wow.
Yeah. Part B, I think the final will be, because Sweden, Graham Potter trying to rejuvenate them, because they were a mess before he took over, despite the level of their team. I think the final will be Sweden against Albania. I think Poland will crush out, honestly. Because it would be fun though, like imagine, because Ukraine played all the qualifiers in Poland. It would be fun, like they qualify for the final and they have to face Poland in Poland, because it would have been I think they will move the game to Germany probably, because otherwise it would have been like Poland playing their way in Poland. But yeah, I think the final will be Sweden against Albania, and Sweden will go through. But C, I think Turkey will beat Romania, and Slovakia will beat Kosovo. But in Slovakia will beat Turkey. I think Calzona, the Italian manager of Slovakia, is, as you remember from 2 years ago at the Euros, they are a very good side to match. You beat them just because Bellingham scored in the final minute to take the game to extra time. Past D, honestly, I think Ireland will beat the Czechs tonight. There's also some internal problems in the Czech team, because Souček was stripped of the captaincy. They have given the captaincy to Ladislav Krejci, the defender from Wolverhampton, of course. Denmark will beat North Macedonia. I think Ireland playing at home, the final in Dublin, it will be a flashback from 2013 when they missed out on the World Cup because they lost a game 4-1 at home against Denmark. I think this time they might get it. They might get it, and they want to get it because they will play. If they qualify like us, both of us will be like playing at home in the US. Looking at the number of Italian Americans and Irish Americans that are there, so it would be like playing at home for both nations. Like we know too well, because in 1994 when we faced, they said, "Oh, nice, we're playing in New Jersey, it's full of Italian Americans." Then they entered the stadium; it's a sea of green.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They underestimated the fact that there are more Irish Americans compared to Italian Americans in the US. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think that's all. Now we'll have to see.
We'll see.
we'll have to see. I hope when we do the podcast next week, it will be, of course, before the Man United game. I hope I will be here with a blue shirt celebrating. Let's see. Let's see with a Zuri shirt celebrating. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
We'll
say
see.
I'd be here with the New England shirt on, but they're £145.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Absolute scam, mate.
I'm
Absolute
looking
scam.
from some kits because you know that I collect kits. I think I won't get the New England one, of course. I like it, but there's better. If I have to pick an England kit, it's 100% the Euro 1996 or World Cup 1998 for me. Those two are great. Even Euro 2004 is good. Even Euro 2004, but yeah, the current Hamburg shirt is calling me, Luka Vuskovic, because I have a magazine a football magazine called Guardian Sportivo that I pick up every month. They have pieces about international football. There was a piece about Luka Vuskovic, and the Hamburg kit is very nice actually. The Hamburg kit is very nice. So that might be my next big collection. My next piece probably in the collection.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just to end on that, England obviously have playing Uruguay, so we have
Marcelo.
interest with Marcelo been there. I'm sorry, I want England to win. I'm not. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I'm blasphemy. I love Bielsa with every part of my heart, but I want my country to win the game. Of course, I do,
and rightly so.
But I want a good game. I want them to play well. I want Marcelo not to be overly criticised afterwards because I hate seeing that. I just want a good game. We win. We're better. DCL scores. Marcelo's happy. Uruguay fans are happy with Marcelo, and we can move on. But yeah. I've got to want my country to win, Andre. Obviously, Seen a lot of
I know.
Not wanting their country to win.
Yeah,
not me.
And I know we're the same age, so the only trophies that you see in your country win have been the Women Euros.
Yeah.
And the England under-21s. I've seen my country win one World Cup and one Euro, and there's nothing better, honestly. And that's why I am, honestly, I feel sick to my stomach at the thought of not qualifying, because missing out for the third time straight, the togetherness that you feel. Okay, the Euros are one thing, but the World Cup is another thing. Honestly. I've been watching the series on the 2006 World Cup recently to try to cheer myself up. I'm scared to that. To be fair, I'm scared to that of missing out.
But you are, mate. This is the conversation that it always goes around at this point, and I want to get your answer before we end. Leeds United to win the Champions League, or Italy to win the World Cup?
I will say Leeds United win the Champions League because I've already seen my country win the World Cup. So easy answer. I've been like as we will say in Italian, paraculo in this case, which means basically I've been very. Let me find the proper translation, because it's something that we say a lot about this. A smart ass probably is the nicest nicest way to say it, because there's other way to say it, translations next to me that are not so literal, to be fair. So yeah, it's been like when you answer in a smart way, in this case, like a fox, like a slimmery fox. Yeah.
See, that's the difference, mate. I've never experienced that, and my first memories of football are England.
Yeah, I remember that.
Started club football. It was national football. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So if someone asks me that, do you know what it is, right? And I'm going to trigger some people. I'm sorry. I love my club day to day. All I care about is Leeds. All I talk about is Leeds. I love it day to day. But I don't need my club to win the Premier League or Champions League. I don't need that. I want us to be a good team that can compete and enjoy watching my team and enjoy loving going to Welland Road. That's what Leeds is to me. I was brought up on Leeds. I don't know, the start of it was decent, but it not for long, for like a season. Then it got really bad. So I never expected it. I just want us to do well. I just want us to see players scoring goals, people having fun, smashing people as well, playing good football, being competitive, annoying other fans. That's what Leeds is to me. I want us in the Premier League competing. I want us competing for Europe. But I honestly don't care about us winning the Premier League. Obviously, if it happens, it would be mind blowing. But I'm not expecting that. So I don't need that. I'll be honest, I don't need that from Leeds. If I get it, it will probably be the craziest thing ever. But I don't need that. For my country, I do. I only get to watch the World Cup every 4 years as well. With Leeds, we have a game every week to win, to do this, to get up the league. With England, obviously the Euros is good, but the World Cup is one we're talking about here. The Euros is different. I'd rather Leeds win anything, FA Cup, I'll be honest, than us win the Euros. I'm not that bothered about them. The World Cup for me is everything. Like, even just thinking me and my dad, watching that with my dad would be that'd be the craziest experience in this world. So I know people are going to be annoyed at this, but I only get to see that every 4 years. We ain't got many of them going. It's every 4 years. I don't need that. I need my country to win.
At least you get to see it.
Yeah, true.
At least you get to see it. I did not for the last 8 years.
Yeah, true. So do you know what, mate? I don't actually know the answer. It sounds like I'm going to say England, but I actually don't know because Leeds has never been close to that situation for me in my lifetime. So I don't know how that'll feel. If we're third in the Premier League or we're in the, if we're third in the Premier League with 4 games to go and we're 4 points off the top, maybe then I'll change my mind. But I've never experienced that. I've experienced us win the championship, which is amazing. But I've experienced England come so close many times.
Yeah.
And that feeling, for literal months afterwards, it hurt. It still does now, I'll be honest. So it's hard to say for me because I've never had Leeds in that situation when we've been so close to winning the Champions League or the Premier League. But I love my country. I got brought up on England. That was before I watched Leeds. So I've always got that soft spot for them. But I don't know, mate. I'm bottling out. I'm not giving an answer.
you know what? Actually, one thing that I aim a lot about these tournaments is the fact that society is changing. The dynamics are changing. So the only time you really see togetherness and pride, national pride about your country, and be who you are, your identity, your culture, your history, it's during this tournament. Otherwise, you don't see togetherness anymore. I know that you live in a big city like Manchester. I live in a smaller city, but there's not much events, collective social events like there used to be in the past. Dynamics are changing. So the only time you feel a sense of national pride is during this. Honestly, and it's mad because sometimes when you talk about your identity, your history, the traits, the cultural trait, the collectivism, it feels like we are talking about something abstract these days, or so distant. But this is our past, the history, the past, the trajectory that got us there, But people have no memory about the past, they have no memory. There's comparisons about times where our grandfathers, fought against dark evil, like the Nazis, that are constantly, trying to compare it to the modern world. I see a lot like, the modern world is very difficult to live in. But I think about the past history. These were the difficult days, These were the difficult days when you had the real threat. Like you were not conquered. We were conquered when we even had a regime that sided us for part of the war, with the Nazis. Then everything changed in 1943, but we were occupied by the Nazis. Like the togetherness was what maintained the UK independence during those dark days.
Yeah.
The grit, the toughness. England was not just England, the UK, because even Scotland, especially the Clydebank, Liverpool, Coventry, they were heavily bombed during the Blitz.
Yeah.
But people, Churchill, those wartime leaders, that are heavily criticized these days. And that's the thing, me, I love history.
Yeah.
Every time I went to London, I see that statue of Churchill, and I said, England, the UK owes its independence to him, because you were alone in those days. And hearing the stories of these days, my grandmother is the other one, not the one that still currently under in hospital. The other one passed away in 2015. She used to tell me stories when I was a kid or young boy, 12 to 13, about those days and how hard it was, the real fear of war, when you are occupied by foreign troops, etc. And the sense of togetherness that kept the people together. These days, it seems that everyone cares about himself, There's no sense of collectivism. It's fading away. That's the thing, People complain about everything, like it's a difficult day, it's difficult world. Those were the days where it was difficult. We are privileged for me. It's difficult, okay? It has difficulties, like every era, But there are things that generation fought for, during those dark times that are taken for granted these days, and that's what really pisses me off, honestly.
Yeah.
These days. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I love football, because it's a group of people, usually all over, from everywhere, from different backgrounds, that come together to achieve a goal, and it's great. It's beautiful. Like, it's so good. That's why I love it, and that's why the team we've got, it feels like everyone there is from completely different backgrounds, gets on, they get on with it, they want to achieve this goal. And it's the same. You can take that out of sports, like you said. You can take that into society. I look at supporting, my national team like I'm supporting my dad. Growing up, my dad, I'm not going to go into my dad's past, but I don't think, what am I saying? My dad lost his parents, both of them, by the age of 19. So he was brought up with him and his brothers. Like, they had to do it. They were the adults at that age, at 19, a young lad just coming out of college or whatever. He had to get a job. He had to focus. So what he did that. He didn't make excuses. He got on with it. He worked hard every single day. And obviously, I was born, kept working hard every day. He worked 5 to 5, 5 days a week. Then on the weekend, he'd sacrifice his time to take me to football, take my younger brother to football, take my sister to gymnastics. That was his weekend. That's to me, that's national pride. And what's he got out of it? Not much. But he's got kids that are doing well, and he's proud of. So
yeah,
that's how I look at it. And every time, my first memories of football are with my dad watching England. So when it comes to these tournaments, that's what it means to me.
Yeah,
and that's why I want to watch it with my dad, and I want to watch England. Leeds came after. Obviously, Leeds is very similar to that. Of course it is. It's very, very similar in that sense, but it's not as direct. We both love Leeds because of what it is, because it represents people like my dad and that community, that working class community. And I love that about the club, and I hope we keep that. And it worries me that we're not, with the prices, everything. That's so important in football. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, we ended up with...
I know we could.
Yeah. We need to start
that's why it's important. That's why England is important to me. That's why I absolutely love, I love them. I love my national team, watching my national team. Even in like Olympics for like Great Britain, I love it. Like, I remember when I was watching the Olympics with my dad, and when Mo Farah, I don't know if you know Mo Farah.
Yeah, I know him for sure. Yeah, he's from Sheffield. Yeah. No, that's Jessica Ennis, actually.
Jessica Ennis from Sheffield.
Where does he live?
I can't remember. I think he's from London.
He's from London. Okay.
Well, he was born in Somalia, then he came over here.
I know.
And that moment was when he won the 5,000 meters, and on the last straight is behind the guy, and he runs past him in the last 20 meters. Like, the togetherness of national pride, every single person in this country felt in that moment. Everyone forgot their arguments. They forgot which side they're on. They forgot where they are. They forgot what politics. It was all about togetherness, and it was beautiful. And that's why I love sport. I love football, and that's why. But yeah.
I remember him. He was even named MBE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even received Sir Mo Farah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Mo
What a
Farah.
legend.
Yeah, I know him,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, even the Olympics, are another occasion where you feel the sense of
Yeah.
national pride for sure. But yeah, so to end it, we'll end it like this. Let's see if I don't know why it appears on the other side. I don't know that. It seems like the flag of Ivory Coast. I don't know why it happens. Yeah, yeah. It was on the right side. I don't know why it happened reversed. Anyway, good chat as always. Forza Italia. We'll see you next week with the build up to the York versus Lancaster war.
Yeah.
The Pennin Derby, the White Rose versus the Red Rose, like Ruth Garstuadeba said. I always said White Rose, not the Red Rose.
Mm-hmm.
The local derby for Loki too.
Very,
So
very local.
yeah, we want to see you wind up. No, I'm joking, of course. But yeah, if we get a result there, honestly, would be over the moon.
Wow.
We'll have to see how my mood will be after these two fixtures, because there's also one thing: if you don't qualify for the final, you have to play a friendly with the other loser of the other semi-final.
Oh.
So, and we know that firsthand because when we lost against North Macedonia, we then had to play a friendly against Turkey in Samsun,
Yeah.
I think, or Ankara, something
We
like
did
that,
it
or Konya.
We did it against Belgium when we lost. We had to play Belgium in a
Nah, it was
semi-final.
the third, fourth place, but at least you get a medal there. We didn't get
Yeah. No
any
one
medal.
wants that medal.
Yeah,
No one wants
exactly.
that medal.
By the way, we'll see you next week then. Lock it,
Yeah.
mate. Thanks as always.
Pleasure, mate. See you later, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.